So without further ado, Ryan Origin and the Glitch Mom.
Oh, snap. Origin. Tight. I had no idea, man.
You didn't tell us.
Right on, man.
You were just like,
Okay.
right this time.
Cool.
That's funny.
All right.
Okay, now I'm
Yeah.
sense.
Okay.
Okay, cool. Right on, man.
Very cool to meet
Tight.
you.
Yeah, nice to meet you, man.
Big fan.
That's hilarious. Very nice to meet you guys. Thanks so much for coming out. So as Emma mentioned, we are celebrating our Ableton Certified Training Center status, which is pretty exciting. Some of the students from our program are currently in the room. I can see them all here. So we're doing something kind of interesting here at Relativity Workshops. We've set up a classroom where every student is using subpacks and amazing Odyssey headphones and Push 2. And we are the first classroom in the world to have that configuration. That being said, these gentlemen here, you guys produce mostly in Ableton? Is that what's going on these days?
Lately, yeah.
Cool. So they brought a Push. They brought a couple sessions, or one session you're going to go through?
We got a couple sessions.
Yeah, we got a few sessions.
Couple sessions.
Yeah.
So basically, we're going to have a brief chat. I'm going to ask them some questions that I just personally would like to know the answers to. And then we're going to set them off for about an hour plus, and they're going to dive into their sessions, play us some music, some early versions of things, some late versions of things, and we're going to get a little better understanding of their workflow and their creative process. So that being said, the question I wanted to initially ask you guys is, can you maybe break down a little bit of like, A, how you individually each got into electronic music, and then kind of after that, how you guys came together? So maybe we'll start with Edit.
Yeah, I guess I got into electronic music, raving early days in Southern California. I went to USC. I just came out here, was really into the whole rave scene, drum and bass, and through going to USC, met Daddy Kev of Low End Theory, Alpha Pup fame, and started Low End Theory with him. But before that, DJ'd at Concrete Jungle, which was this drum, bass, and hip hop weekly that we had together in Los Angeles. And so that was kind of like the beginning, really. And then, kind of after that, met these guys out at Burning Man, and the rest is kind of history.
What caught your ear about raving? What was it about that compelled you to go?
I don't know. Like, I guess like the first time I heard LTJ Bookham's Logical Progression 2, there was just so much depth. There was journeys. There was just like incredible mathematics and like all the rhythms and
A lot of emotion.
Yeah.
Not having to say any words.
exactly. Yeah, motion without lyrics.
Texture
Awesome
played a
sound
role.
quality.
Yeah, exactly. Texture and sound quality seem to play a lot into it.
Bass, like just kind of like so many good things mashed together into one mixing pot, and that's pretty much what did it for me.
Awesome. Very
Mhm.
cool.
Very, very similar for me. I grew up in New Orleans and was doing kind of like hardcore scene metal stuff, and this little like shitty warehouse venue, like after the hardcore shows would switch over to basically like a rave, and I'd see these.
But
guys.
after the hardcore shows?
Yeah, like the
Right.
hardcore show would end at midnight or so, and then they would just like load in turntables and speakers and stuff. And I remember one time just being like, "What the hell's going on here?" And stuck around, and there was a drum and bass night there afterwards, and it was very similar. I grew up playing drums and guitar, and then when I heard drum and bass there, I was just like, "How do you make those sounds? Like, where does that come from?" Because I didn't know about synthesizers or computers. I didn't even really have a computer growing up. But I was so curious how those sounds were made. So I just did a similar thing, just started going to raves, and drum and bass is what caught my ear. Also, that LTJ Bookham record was
Incredible, right?
It was the first thing I heard where I was like, okay, this is not a band. I got to figure out how to do this.
Right. So
And
what is
then
it? Were you doing music prior to that?
I was just playing in like garage
Playing in
bands
garage bands. So hearing that, I had something similar happen to myself when I heard breakbeat hardcore from the UK. I was kind of fiddling around on the guitar and stuff, but there was something about like, I want to do to other people what this stuff's doing to me. Is it a bit of that too?
Yeah, for sure. And drum and bass connected with me and resonated with me because it had this punk element to it. It was basically like punk music, but made with synthesizers. Fast drum.
But also extremely sophisticated as well. At the time where a lot of the rave scene was, it's based around 4 on the floor music, and some of it kind of like, like a little corny, some of it
like
maybe
trance was
maybe
really
not, but like
popular.
drum and bass was like, it was hard, it was aggressive, it had a very punk element, but at the same time it was like highly sophisticated.
Yeah.
Engineers
Always in
took
the side room.
sound, like engineers took mixing and engineering and sound quality like extremely seriously.
Yeah,
It was definitely, it was like a true art form.
Yeah.
Not trying to put down trance or house or any of those other things.
Right.
But it was definitely, it was cut from a different cloth.
It was almost like a side effect of the genre itself, and that to be
Yeah.
able to get that speed and that pace with the frequency range, you had
Yeah.
to be a ninja engineer to even pull it off.
Yeah.
Because we all know it's difficult to make good drum and bass and extremely easy to make bad drum and bass.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like if you just try to do something and throw it together, it's usually
Yeah,
never going to
peaks and
sound right.
valleys in that one for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. What about you?
I came into music through tinkering and software. Like I didn't grow up playing any instruments or anything. I had a lot of music in my house, but I got an early version of like Fruity Loops, and I had an impulse tracker where I was actually like writing beats with text codes and stuff
Can
like
you
that.
explain what that is a little bit? Because most of these people probably don't know what that is.
Yeah.
I don't even know what it is.
A tracker was like a very. I wasn't using it. I was actually like after the tracker thing, and there are people who still
Yeah.
write on trackers.
Oh, yeah.
I used a tracker. That was my first.
But there's no
DAW, so to
graphical
speak.
interface.
Yeah.
I just sound like a grandpa right now.
No,
If anyone knows what
this
Renoise is, that's kind of like the only tracker still
Which
around.
now? Yeah.
Renoise.
Renoise, right.
That's
Yeah.
pretty much the only
So
one.
just
still
to
around.
give them the visual,
Yeah, but you basically.
what am I
you-
seeing when I'm using a tracker?
You program with text codes, like a kick drum. Sometimes it's like, it's like a hexadecimal code, so it just looks like a bunch of text. It looks
Yeah.
like garbled text. So if you didn't know what it was,
fast
actually-
numbers scrolling up and
Right.
down,
Yeah, it
basically.
looks like the Matrix,
like the Matrix,
basically,
yeah, pretty much.
But somehow
Yeah.
tunes come out.
But it all
Somehow
makes
music
sense
comes
though
out.
too. Like
Right.
once you wrap your brain around it, you're like, oh yeah, totally. This is
actually Dabry
Yeah.
writes with trackers apparently. So
Really? Still.
that's the legend. That's their.
Yeah.
Is that the
version.
legend like Burial uses SoundForge?
Yes.
Is that
Yeah.
same?
Yeah.
yeah.
That's how I started producing music, and it was more of a textural thing for me. I've always been into technology, and I've had computers, and then I also was into punk and hardcore, discovered the rave scene, started going to shows. I grew up in Santa Barbara. I started going to shows down in LA, like underground shows, outdoor shows, and then I also discovered the harder side of things when I was listening to trance and techno when I first heard Aphex Twin
Yeah.
Didgeridoo. I was like, that's my shit.
Right.
Fuck all else.
Yeah.
So I heard that, then I started hearing metalhead stuff and jungle and drum and bass, and I went at age 16 and bought turntables, and I was like, I'm gonna figure out how to do this, and I set them up like in my living room on my mom's hi-fi, and I just had one Metalheads record, and I just would play side A and side B over and over again. And then then kind of I moved up to Northern California and started just producing and playing more there, and kind of got into the outdoor party rave scene and the kind of Burning Man world where we all met through in Northern California, and started doing drum and bass, which is where I actually met you. So there's even though we don't make drum and bass, that's the sort of the common thread here. And
It's also a big spirit of the glitch mob, I
Yeah.
think like
Right.
if we took kind of like maybe like the hard bass lines, kind of like the aggressive attitude of drum bass, the swag of hip hop,
Totally, yeah.
maybe sprinkle a little bit of like experimental IDM stuff in there, and the epicness of like super big like rock and
Glam rock.
yeah, kind of like
Sure.
tossed it all in a blender. You kind of
It seems to be like that's
Yeah.
kind of a combination of all your influences kind of
Yeah.
being manifested out
Yeah.
of the output of the glitch mob.
Yeah,
Totally.
absolutely.